Yeah, as the captain just said, we have to take a look at how fast he was flying when he came in, especially if this is a no-flap landing. And the whole idea that the plane would bounce, let us not forget, if it bounces, it doesn't mean it's going to come back in the same position in terms
Right.
of where the wings are. And if it comes back and it's either dipping left or dipping right, that's where the wing hits before the wheels hit, and that could cartwheel and put this plane on its, not on its side, but upside down, as we see right now.
Right.
So that makes sense to you, Captain?
It does.
We're watching now with the treatment that's taking place with the fire department. They've been on the scene pretty quickly. What we haven't heard for sure yet is about, and I've seen various reports online and other places about whether there are confirmed injuries. I don't believe we have any confirmation of injuries. Okay, so I'm told that what the local police department is saying right now is that there are, quote, some injuries, but they have not confirmed the number. The earlier comments that we heard from the officials was that all the passengers and all the crew had been, quote unquote, accounted for. Captain, your view on this? You said this situation could have been catastrophic. We appear to have, I guess, avoided the worst in a situation like this. Of course, we don't know all the details yet.
Well, the airplane didn't break up.
Right.
That's one good thing. And so people would be hanging it from their seatbelts upside down, and the injuries could have happened as they were getting unstrapped. Mm-hmm. Also trying to get a little bit disoriented, being upside down in a tube like that, and then going through the evacuation process could have caused some injuries as well.
Okay, there's the statement from Toronto Pearson on all of this. They're aware of the incident upon landing of this Delta Airlines plane. As the captain said, it was Endeavor. It was the operating airline here from Minneapolis. Emergency teams responding, all passengers and crew accounted for. So that's what they said earlier. Peter, maybe you would have some bigger picture perspective on all of this. I know people turn on their televisions and then right away they see on the bottom there's a flight landing upside down. So, oh my goodness, here we go again with all these incidents. Is it here we go again? Is it more high-profile incidents than in the past, or is it really what it seems? What would you say?
There is no pattern here. Nobody should jump to any conclusion that we have a bigger problem with air safety than we already have. No. This is an isolated incident. We've seen inverted landings before. There was one in Hong Kong with an MD-11 where it was a cargo plane that bounced as well and ended up inverted. And even though that was a wide body, the crew got out alive. But we've seen situations like this before where you either land long, you land fast, you bounce and you lose control. And once you drag a wing, you've lost control of the plane. We saw that crash in Scottsdale last week where the Learjet's landing gear basically split off on landing. He lost control of the plane because the wing dipped and it spun him around in another plane. Once you lose that, you lose control. These people are very, very lucky that this plane actually didn't break up and that it's inverted intact.
Okay, Lloyd, what would you say about that? These the bigger picture concerns people have after seeing high-profile incident after high-profile incident about air safety, especially in the United States. What would you say?
Well, every one of these aircraft that have had an incident in the last little bit are smaller airplanes. And I think smaller airplanes are safe as well, but the major carriers, they're still accident-free. And so I agree with what was said earlier. There's no pattern here. We have the safest pilots, the safest airplanes in the world. And I would fly any day, every day. And I have.
Right, of course. So you still feel, and you still tell your friends or family, and they ask you about it, you would still say, as safe as it's ever been?
Yes, I would.
Peter, the other issue, and it will come up here because we were going to cover it anyway, even if this didn't happen, is we have no idea, again, what have gone on in this situation. We're talking about Canada, not the United States. Air traffic control system and staffing levels and whether there's going to be more cutbacks. I mean, that in some ways is a separate issue, but related to air safety in general. And, it's going to get even more scrutiny about it, after this, right?
That's actually the much bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Because we've had a chronic problem with staffing at the FAA, a chronic problem with the FAA not understanding its true role in enforcing and regulating safety, and understanding that they do not report to the manufacturers or the operators, they report to the citizens of the United States. And until they figure that one out and figure out their staffing, you're going to continue to have problems that become contributors to bigger problems. But as the captain just said, you go back the last 30 years, we've had the 30 safest years in commercial aviation since aviation began. And so trying to improve on that average is not the issue here. The real question is, can we maintain it? And that's where the FAA comes into play here. We need to address those problems, which are systemic, before we can address anything else. But today's incident, I continue to say, I think the captain would agree with me, it's an individual isolated incident and not to be perceived in any way, shape, or form as a pattern.
Okay, let me get your thoughts, Lloyd, on that in a moment. CTV bringing us these pictures from Toronto's airport. See the Air Canada sign in the background, but this was an Endeavour flight from Delta that, upon landing from Minneapolis in Toronto, somehow ended up flipped on its side. There's some injuries associated with this. We don't know how many or how serious they are, but we do know that all the crew has been accounted for. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.